Okay, today I'm just going to do a brief video on the topic of stabilizing your seams. And this is an extension of what I'm doing with the Delectable Mountains block, which happens to be this. So, I was noticing in my first batch that I did, this one's a particularly serious example of this, where I have all of this rippling type of stuff. And even right here, I actually did touch the iron to it a little bit. That's why the mark from the heat away marker is gone. And even with that, it's like, you know, you can get it kind of flattened, but it's still just not that great. What a lot of people do is they might have an even feed foot or a walking foot. I have a walking foot for my machine. I just don't particularly like using the walking foot. But there is another way to stabilize your seams that is cheap, does not require a walking foot, and that is stabilizing with paper. This is just discarded paper out of books that we've been getting rid of out of the library that I work at. I know that not everybody has access to that sort of a thing, but a lot of people do have old phone books. I've seen old phone books used, particularly something like White Pages phone books might be really good. Technically you could use something like copy paper, but I would definitely adjust your stitch length down. Here's an example right here where I use the paper underneath to stabilize, and as you can tell, this is a whole lot flatter than this. This is, oof. I mean, you can see just how it ripples. This is without stabilizing. This is with stabilizing. It's nice and flat, and it makes it not only when I'm ironing it, it makes it more stable that way and just easier to iron through, so that I can then peel my layers back and gently get my half square triangle. But it also makes it so that things just seem more stable and straight when I'm cutting for the 4 pieces to make that Delectable Mountains block. Here's another one where I stitched, and on this one, these pages are not the length of this hypotenuse here, and so I just decided to get a little lazy and not butt up another little piece of paper behind there like I did here. And so, as you may or may not be able to see, really nice and smooth right here, and then it actually starts to get a bit of a wave over on the end here that's not stabilized with the paper. But this one is still pretty good, and I would be perfectly happy to go on with this. This, I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be seam ripping these, and then I'm going to stitch it again with the paper so that the seams are nice and stable. So that right there, that's a nice tip. And of course with this, I can easily get my paper off, and I don't have to get rid of this whole thing of paper. I can use it for the next block, and I just position it under, and once I have this one seam ripped, position that under, and I can just stitch right along. So that is a method of creating nice smooth seams, especially for these blocks where you're trying to do the half square triangles and it's a bigger piece of fabric than, say, 3-inch squares together. Thank you.